I feel like it's needed to continue in learning is more important in my life right now. To just always absorb and always be learning. So if I had to go back, I would say I would wish I would have picked that up 5 years ago. Now, also 5 years ago, I was actually doing a switch to get out of PDR. This is my personal thing. And I was building a whole nother business. And so if I would have doubled down and really considered, PDR or even my business, something more important than I did 5 years ago. Other thing, I would have spent more money on AdWords. It is nowhere near as effective as it was 5 years ago. You got to spend $2,000 to get what you had to spend $200 5 years ago.
So the first thing was
basically my self improvement. I think 5 years ago, and I could be wrong, it's almost like I felt like I was too good to learn.
It's also a maturity thing?
Maybe a maturity thing, yeah, for sure.
How old were you 5 years ago?
I was 26, 27-ish, I'm kind of going back like 6 years, to be honest with you, because 5 years, we're on that cuff where I just like really start to, start learning and say that I could have a better life, and everybody around me could be affected by positivity a little bit more, especially if I buckle down on more positive things in my life. So that was right around the 5 to 4 years mark for sure. So I'm going back like 6. And then, read more, go to more, events and seminars, networking. That's probably will be like a 4th thing. Yeah, I would have networked a lot more. I'm pretty timid.
So number one was self-improvement.
Yeah,
you wanted to double down on yourself as a man and increasing your social visibility and just,
Yeah. Now it's like the lotto.
Becoming more of Christopher Ray. Just becoming more in tune with yourself.
Exactly.
More self-aware with yourself.
Right.
You wish you would have done that earlier.
Yes. I have a book. The first book I ever read, and I was 26, probably around the same time, maybe even actually 28, was Think and Grow Rich. And it just changed my whole perspective of even books. Like, I wasn't a textbook guy. I thought they were just a waste of time. It had some information, but didn't really pertain to me. But when I read Think and Grow Rich, I was like, wow, I understand where he's coming from. Why didn't I not get this book in high school? And then my second book was Built to Sell. And that's a very, very good book, especially for a solopreneur, especially in our field. And that book shows you also that, how to really scale a business. And do you even have a business if you're just a one person? Because technically you have a job if it's just you. It's not a business because you can't sell a business. When you sell your business, you're either selling that website and that brand, right? You can sell the brand. But to sell the business, it needs to be functioning without you. If it ain't, you're selling a job.
Because the point of a business is to buy and sell goods or services.
Right.
Well, if it's just you doing that, you take yourself out of the equation.
Well, you are the business.
That's the business.
That's it. You're gone.
Yeah.
You have nothing to sell. It's crazy how people PDR was solopreneur.
And no one has anything to buy.
There's nothing to buy.
There's no one there no one there to service the vehicle or.
Right. As soon as you hand over that money, you have no technicians. You have nothing. Your business is technically not worth anything. Now, what's worth something is the network that you've built, the branding that you built, the website, analytics. That's worth value, but it's nowhere near worth what some of these guys are probably charging for their businesses. 20, 30,000, maybe 40, 50 if you're really, really big. But that's it. They still have to find the person to man that to capture that $50,000 out of your business that they pay you.
So number one, about 5-6 years ago, you would have doubled down on yourself.
Yes.
And just really been more in tune and more self-aware.
Right.
Number two,
more open to learn. I don't think 6 years ago I was open to learn.
Okay. Number two, you're saying is you would have paid more attention to where advertising was going with business.
Yes.
And you saw Google AdWords was working. You just wish you would have spent more time either understanding or even, adding more to Google AdWords,
Right,
spending more on Google AdWords.
And that's something that we all face, right? If business is doing good, why invest in it, right? And it's funny because Coca-Cola doesn't matter. Coca-Cola owns like half the drinks, and the other half is owned by like Pepsi, right? No matter what you drink, it's either a Coca-Cola product or a Pepsi product. But why do they still have commercials? It ain't for just the tax write-off, because they could easily line somebody else's pocket for the tax write-off.
Even when it's going good, they're still
Why are they
out
a
there.
Super Bowl commercial? I think Doritos is owned by like Frito-Lay, or like it's a big company. Like every chip you buy is gonna be like a Frito-Lay, but they still got the Doritos Super Bowl commercial.
Yes.
You ain't buying nothing else. You go to 7-Eleven and 70% of the stock of chips is theirs anyway.
Yep.
Who cares? You're gonna buy that crap. McDonald's commercials. They're on every block. You don't need to be. It's branding. It's branding.
So
They're double down on that. And that's is free is that attention, right? Attention is valuable. And so
5 years ago,
it was a lot cheaper, a lot less people doing it. But we did bare minimum for us to be successful. Like I was busy as crap 5 years ago because obviously I was solo.
It was underpriced attention.
It was definitely underpriced attention. And I think if all of us would have jumped into it, right? Not just me. I'm not just saying I didn't line my pockets or anything like that. But if we all jumped in it, how better would that industry be? Right? We see all these tool manufacturers jumping in and everybody's, everything's going. But the evolution of all the tools, like the lift right, mini lifter, like something that's so small that we've owned for probably 20 years. The guy's owned 20 years of mini lifter, the Waldorf mini lifter. I got one in the back of my truck. No one's thought to improve
vertical.
that. But someone said, competition, right? Someone said, I can do something better. Is there an option?
Shout out to Ray.
Yeah, shout out to Ray on that one. But that's going to go across the globe. Not only that, they're now focusing on advertising, and now tools are becoming more available. You remember the time where you didn't even know where to buy these tools were. You got to be in the end to even know who sells these tools. Now it's like a simple search on Google and these tools are available. Great for the tool companies. We need to do that in the service of the PDR too. The more and more people search for PDR, YouTube, stuff like that, it brings more notice to the industry, and we'll have more and more ambassadors that say, no, PDR is actually better than painting.
The correct
you guys
way
need to be, your father says, yo, try a PDR guy and say, yo, go hit up this body shop. That's going to be a different dynamic. You don't have to sell every time a customer comes to me. They already know that you're the better option, which we are. We're just, again, undervalued, for what we do to a certain degree.
So your first thing you would have changed was doubling down on yourself. Your second one was spending more time understanding, advertising and marketing.
Right.
Specifically Google AdWords.
Correct.
And the third thing you would have changed within 5 years, either yourself or your business, what's the third thing?
I really like the networking thing because, again, I still have a hard time going into body shops and selling myself and dealerships and selling myself. And over repetition, I'm able to get more comfortable doing it, right? But that's just it. I'm just not that type of person. So that probably speaks a little bit on double down on yourself, but understanding, definitely networking. And I say that would be doubling down on yourself. I would probably put it to really understanding business and the vision of the business that I had. 6 years ago, it was just me working. All I needed to do was pay my bills. But if I would have picked up that, no, this is a business, I want to see it grow 6 years ago, I'd probably be in a better state than it is right now. Because 6 years ago, we were kind of just getting out of this recession and stuff like that, and that's when you needed to pump. And I didn't. I basically was like, I'm making good money, it's okay, my bills are paid for, everything's great. And I was getting a little complacent 6 years ago. Then when I started to realize that I can't keep this pace up, that's when I said, it's time to hire someone, help. And it wasn't like hire to make money. Like, that's nowhere near it. The guys I find is to better their lives, too.
So your third point that you would have changed, the third idea
was double down on my vision. Either locate it or realize what my vision was, or even decide on a vision and doubling down on that. If I can go back 5 years, what I would do differently with my business, 1, I would do always focus on self-development. 2 will be AdWords and any ad and social media campaigning that I could have learned 5 years ago. 3 would be the vision and goals. Make sure those are set accordingly. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video, guys. Peace.